Do, 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 do. Test, test, one, two, check, check. Okay, I'm just getting things set up. So for anyone who is already in the chat or waiting for things to get going, um, that's what I'm doing. So I know there's a little delay. Everyone knows it. Crypto Dream, my mod, my good friend. I see that you're already here. Can you just give me a thumbs up or give me a something if you can see and you can hear everything well? And I'm gonna go dark for a second while I continue to get things set up. When Calvin jumps in, we'll get going. All right, thanks. Hey, Calvin, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, doing great.
Awesome, awesome. I just need a couple more seconds just to get some things set up. Give everybody a chance to kind of share this on Twitter or wherever they want to share it, and we'll get started here in a couple minutes if that's all right.
Sounds good.
All right. I think we are good to go on my end. I don't think anybody minds if we start a little early, huh?
It's fine by me. I mean, we can totally hang out. I think I'm streaming. I'm streaming on your channel already.
Oh yeah. Because well, it's live. I set it to public so that everybody
Oh,
can kind
okay.
of jump in and kind of wait for us to get going. But here we go. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, good. It's a pleasure to meet you. For everyone who's watching live and later on recorded, today I am speaking with Mr. Calvin. Mr. Calvin is one of the co-creators of Raincoin, which is something that's actually been on my Well, it was attempted to be put on my radar a while ago, but it's actually come back to me over the last couple of weeks. Like a storm, if you will, because it's doing really well. So I'm really happy to have Calvin on today to actually talk to us about the project and to tell us, what's kind of been going on, because there's some craziness happened with the volatility and the chart. If you could, Calvin, if you don't mind, can you give us like a brief little introduction? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I've been in crypto for a long time. It's about 12 years now. I was introduced to Bitcoin back when it was trading at $12. And
Wow.
so I've been just involved in everything. I've been more of a kind of a trader ever since I began. Just familiar with markets, how markets work, kind of the financials, behind everything. Just so my professional side, I have degrees in finance. So I have a master's degree in finance, and I have just kind of been interested in the financial world and how markets work and all of that ever since, even as a kid, I was interested in how money worked and things like that. And so being introduced to Bitcoin was just kind of putting fuel on a fire.
Yeah.
And I was just completely enamored by, liquidity and scarcity and all the properties of how money works and what makes something valuable and things like that. And then over the past, more than a decade, I've seen a lot of attempts at recreating Bitcoin. Everyone was always trying to make the new Bitcoin or the next Bitcoin, and nobody can do it. And there are some things that make Bitcoin unique that make it really hard to reproduce. The number one of almost every other project is that usually there's a creator or a founder or a team or someone in control of it. And that's what makes Bitcoin unique is that there's nobody there pulling the strings. Even though the Satoshi, existed for the first 3 or 4 years of the development of Bitcoin, he was gone by the time I came around to the scene. So he had to have been only around for like 3 years or something. But anyway, so there's just some things that a lot of projects do wrong, and just learning and making my own mistakes. And I've started a couple of projects and things and just learned along the way. And by the time we came up with the concept for Rain, all of these ideas and concepts and experience and exposure to crypto kind of culminated in one really good idea. And that's what Rain is. So it's kind of where I've come from and where we are so far.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, because I've been trying to do what I tell everybody else to do and do my own research, right? So I've been looking into you a little bit, and I found this and that about you, and I found, matter of fact, let me if I can just show this to you real quick. You're going to tell me what it is. Give me 1 second. This is my first live stream of the year, and I haven't done this since probably last winter, because I work. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I? Yeah, this is where I want to go right here. I work construction. I work seasonally, so I don't have a lot of time to do this during the summer. So now you're going to bear with me a little bit as I kind of navigate my way around here again.
That's all right.
But yeah, I found this. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Is that popping up? What are you doing? Are you watching the live? Are you watching it on my channel?
I'm seeing both, so I've got you.
Oh, okay, all right. So this cryptoinfluencers.com thing, I found this and I started scrolling through, and it's Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. I'm like, wow, this is a real Bitcoin guy. So what you're saying to me really makes a lot of sense to me, as far as how you kind of got to where you are, and as far as having the degrees in finance, because the tokenomics and the way you've put this all together with Rain is kind of unlike anything else I've seen. It seems brilliant to me. But I'm not a financial guy, so it could be crazy. I don't know the difference really, right? So I'm looking forward to you actually explaining a little bit about that to me today. And I want to get into rain, but there are a couple other questions that I wanted to ask you. Now, you're a co-founder in this with Adam.
Yeah, I like to refer myself as a co-creator. I
Okay.
mean, founder's the same, but it's just that we don't have any control over this thing. You know,
Okay.
we kind of created it and then we stepped away. You know, not stepped away. We're still working in the community and working on it, but
Mhm.
you know, we're not running a team. Like there's no Raincoin team. There's no um, you know, foundation or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah, I like to really emphasize that since this is an absolutely community driven and community owned crypto project.
All right. Yeah, and I actually have some questions about that too. But as
Uh-huh.
far as Adam goes, unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here today. What brought you guys together? Like, how do you guys know each other, and how did you kind of end up developing this thing together?
Well, we've known each other for quite a while. I think he was around doing so there's a coin called Digibyte that I think is 10 years old.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Just make sure everyone wakes up. Uh, so he was involved in that, and I kind of discovered it and did some things. I actually tried to create my own crypto exchange to compete with Coinbase back when it was really hard to get in and out of crypto with dollars. So
Okay.
I had a whole plan figured out, and so I started getting involved in that. And then as that project was maturing, that's when I ran into Adam, and then we both kind of worked with Humble and Blocks together. And then we just, you know, he's just a solid guy. It's one thing to be super smart, which he is, but it's another to have an amazing amount of integrity. And so this is a guy that, yeah, he's got everyone's best interest in mind, and those things are pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
we became
It's a
good friends,
good
and he
good
had a
foundation.
he
Is
came up.
Adams I'm sorry, is Adam's background in finance as well?
He's more technical.
Okay.
He programs on blockchains. Like he
Okay.
creates coins, he writes smart contracts. He's just
Be like
super
an L1
technical.
developer, L2 developer? What?
Um, he can do both.
Oh,
So he's
okay.
just, yeah, he's really smart. And he's also nerdy enough that he's researching new latest and greatest, you know, smart contracts and different ideas that come out there. And he's the one that discovered this reflection tax that is kind of integral to Raincoin. And so we had talked for a while, and it was like, you know, man, if we could ever do a crypto and do it right and have everything all in the right place, you know, we should get together and do it, you know, at some point. Well, a couple months before Raincoin launched, he calls me and he's like, "Hey, there's this technology that I've discovered. It does this 1% reflection on any of these transactions." And I was like, "Okay, well, so does it work? I mean, I think we're onto something if it does buys and sells, but we'd have a gold mine if it also worked on just simple transfers." And he's like,
Mm,
"I don't think it does that. Let me research some more and get back with you." And
mhm.
then he looked it up and found out and researched it and found out that it does also work on transactions. And I was like, Adam, we can really make something cool with this technology.
Yeah.
So he came up with the technology and wrote Rain's contract. And then I came up with all of the kind of gamification, the strategy, listing on the market, and all the other stuff, kind of the technical market side of things.
Okay. Yeah, hell of a team. Yeah, that kind of answers the question that I had because um obviously your contract is a little unique in what it does where it's kind of totally automated. And I can tell you that right now in the chat there is an L1 developer who I'm very familiar with, a gentleman by the name of Varu Basu, who's been working quite a bit with the Terra Classic chain and trying to develop some things there. And
Cool.
Aru and I talk a bit here and there, so I know that he's probably very interested, and we'll probably have some technical questions. I don't know if you'll be able to, without Adam here, if you'll be able to field them. But I'm
I'll
glad
do
to
my
see you,
best.
Aru, and everyone else that's in the chat right now. Thanks, guys, for being here. But yeah, I was wondering where the smart contract came from, and who actually wrote it. So the fact that you're in finance and he's got the development aspect, I mean, that's kind of a dynamic duo. Even though I know you say that you're not really, you're not holding the reins, you're not really running things or whatever. It's still good to have you guys involved either way.
Yeah. Well, especially that kind of a team to set it up. Honestly, the success of a project has more to do with the setup than the actual project itself.
Okay.
Because if you screw up tokenomics, you can't go back. You can't go back and redo that. You can't go and fix a smart contract after it's been deployed.
Yeah.
Once it's out, it is out. And so that's why these smart contract developers just have to be so careful. They have to think through everything, because once it's out there and it's launched, if they've screwed up, they've essentially, a blockchain is immutable, and that's the point of a blockchain. So if you publish anything on a blockchain, you can't. There's no takesy backsies. Once it's been
Gotcha.
mined and confirmed, it's locked in. So the planning and the pre-planning of getting Raincoin right was very meticulous, and getting the tokenomics right and getting the incentives right. All that had to be in place before we launched, or else it was just doomed to fail. Well, I think we got a lot of it right. Like every day, the more I think about what we've created, it just makes me it's almost like a divine intervention. Like there's some things that have come in that kind of happened that are just unreal. So anyway, it's exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, no, awesome. That's good. What am I doing here? Let's do it like this. So I want to get into it a little bit. I want to get into kind of the tokenomics, and let me see if I can pull up. I'll bring this over here. Again, there might be a delay for some of you, but basically, I'm pulling up the main page, and this is what we're going to talk about. Describe for us, and I know that a lot of people have already heard it, but there are some people that haven't, including Aru and a good friend of mine also that's in here, Crypto Dream, who's very into the Bitcoin stuff. But tell us a little bit more about how the tokenomics work as far as the reflections and those kind of things. Let's kind of get into the meat of it a little bit if we could.
Yeah. So normally when you're creating tokenomics, you've got a complex spreadsheet of founders and advisors and pre-sale and marketing, and there's just a million little buckets that you put budgets for your coin into. And when I see a project that has a million little buckets for founders and team and developers and all of these little items, I see sell pressure, sell pressure, sell pressure, sell pressure, and more sell pressure. And even airdrops are sell pressure, because anytime you are giving away coins for free, there's nothing that has brought it up to a certain point. And the people that get things for free, they treat it as it's free. And so there's a economic kind of psychological aspect to receiving something with no value that has value. And these people are what you call paper hands, lettuce hands.
Okay.
And so there's just a lot of things that go into that. Well, if you have to pay for marketing, and you have to pay for a big team, and you have to pay for development, that and you're using your coin for that currency to pay them, you're diluting yourself. You're diluting yourself really bad. So with Raincoin, we decided, if we can put all the gamification and all of the fun and all the interesting parts and pieces of a successful idea and make it automated to where there's no team required, the tokenomics can be okay, 100% allocation to markets,
Right.
period. And
Mhm.
that's the tokenomics for Raincoin. Well, after the fact, so we launched the entire thing on Liquidity Pool. After the fact, I went ahead and acquired 50% of the coins. This is obviously it was dirt cheap at the beginning.
Right.
So I went out and acquired them on the open market, and I locked up 50% in a rewards wallet. And Adam programmed this wallet to transfer 7% of that balance every night at midnight UTC. So suddenly the gamification is in full swing. And there's no, there were no teams or treasuries or anything to allocate any funds to. So now our tokenomics is 45 or 47% rewards wallet, and everyone else is holders. Like that's pretty much our tokenomics. A lot of coins will start with 10, 20%. 20%, if you're lucky, will be allocated to the actual market, the liquidity pools. But what does that mean? That means that you have 4 times more sell pressure than you started with. That's why almost every project that launches ends up trading below their original launch price, because
Right.
you have 5 times the amount of people dumping, or at least selling. Even if they're not dumping, they have the ability to pull it back way, way, way past that point. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to talk about. The
It,
tokenomics is just perfect.
something that I've really noticed, and I'll look at this in a second with you, but something that I've really noticed about your chart, and about your community is, there's a lot more. It seems to be a lot more holders than there are sellers. And that's kind of interesting to me for a bunch of different reasons, and we'll look at that in a second. But something that I wanted to ask you about was this deployer wallet. So I watched your initial video that you did on your YouTube channel, and if you want to plug that so that people can go ahead and follow you and watch those videos, that's awesome. But when you first launched the coin, it seems like immediately you did this video to kind of introduce it. You introduced it as really an experiment at the
It
time.
totally was.
Yeah, like you didn't know where this thing was going to go.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, right? So you did kind of maybe a friends and family round, kind of unofficially, informally. Um, and you also, what you're just talking about as far as this deployer wallet, going ahead and taking 50%, purchasing it, right, and putting 50% into this deployer wallet. Now, when I was watching that video and you pulled this up, right, the polygon scan, this percentage was at like 49 point something percent. Okay.
Right.
And then when I kind of started really paying attention, which was maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I went and looked at this, it was at 47 point something percent.
Mm-hmm.
And now as we've the price has skyrocketed, the volume has increased like crazy. And I think that we're now getting more reflections, because the reflections, at least the thunderstorm or whatever, comes out of this wallet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So as that's been going up and really, really kind of, hitting everybody with reflections, I've noticed this percentage has come down quite a bit between when you made that video in, what was that, like maybe October or so,
Uh-huh.
and just a couple of weeks ago there was maybe a 2% drop, but now over the last couple of weeks there's like a 4% drop. So
Yeah.
at
It
what
makes money.
point is this deployer wallet, the more we get volume, at what point is this thing going to drain itself out?
Well, so one thing you have to notice, so on your screen right now, you're showing that the deployer, which is this rewards wallet,
Yep.
has a 43% in it.
Yep.
That's because 7% of that wallet got moved into a different wallet, and
Oh,
it'll
okay.
stay there for 24 hours. And then at midnight UTC today, it'll move back to that deployer wallet.
Okay.
So this, I think it does create a little bit of confusion. But you're right, though. We did go from about 49 to about 47. So 2% of the supply, or 2% of the supply has already been distributed.
Mhm.
Well, during the first year, so we launched this in October, right? So in the first year, so by October, I was expecting 11% of the total supply to be distributed through this wallet. Well, that number was a miscalculation. It's actually going to be there's going to be less. And what I didn't take into consideration was the transactions that everyone else is doing. So as people are buying and selling and doing any other activities, sending coins, just anything on the network, this deployer wallet is also receiving a reward.
Right.
And so it's kind of recharging this wallet for more airdrops. So if we
But
were
can it
to,
recharge it fast enough? Can it recharge it fast enough to keep up with to keep up with the volatility and the volume, and
yeah,
eventually won't it just keep kind of like dwindling, till
it
it,
will.
I
But
don't know
let me
how
break
long
it
it would
down.
take.
Let me break it down for you.
Sure.
So let's take this wallet. Let's just say it's 50%, just for easy math.
Sure.
Well, 7% of that wallet moves every 24 hours.
Hmm.
So of the 7% that moves, only 1% of the 7% is distributed as rewards.
Hmm.
So what's happening is we're giving that wallet is shrinking by 0.0007 every 24 hours. And then that result shrinks by 0.0007. And then that keeps happening. If it was, let's just round it up to one, we'll say it's 1/1000, 1/100th of a percent.
Okay.
And let's make it fixed. Let's say that it was a fixed amount every time. It would take 1,000 days with that setup to drain this wallet.
Okay.
So that's nearly 3 years. If you use the actual 0.0007, it's going to be over 3 years if it was fixed. But the fact that it's a fraction of a fraction, it'll last forever. It'll just
Okay.
create an infinite slope. But what's going to happen at some point, the network activity is going to end up being higher than that daily reward drop. Right now, it would take about 32,000 rain being moved or transacted to reproduce that reward. Well, if there was 32,000 rain worth of economic activity on the system, and this wallet is roughly 50% of the size of, so it's weighted by balance, that reward. So if it would take about 65,000 rain worth of activity to completely give back to that wallet the reward it distributed.
Okay.
So in other words, this wallet will never drain. It will.
This is where those degrees in
Yeah,
finance and stuff
I'm sure
really
I'm
come in
making it
handy.
so clear too.
No, no, I kind of got it. Listen, I can't tell you that I 100% understand
Well,
it. I mean, it's just not my field, but
everyone receives the reflection tax. Everyone does, including this deployer wallet, except for the wallets that are involved in the transaction. So from my wallet, if I send you some rain, if I send you 100 rain, that 1% gets distributed between everyone else.
right,
But that also includes this deployer wallet.
right.
So the deployer
Which
wallet,
really takes the largest chunk because it's the
it
one
does.
holding the most. Right.
So if you're looking at your rewards and you're like, holy crap, I'm gonna make 25% APR in rain this year, like, which is a phenomenal reward. The deployer wallet's also doing that, getting that. Well, except for, it's giving away more, so the balance is less, but we're constantly recharging the rewards wallet by our own activities.
Right.
So it's a really fascinating thing.
Yeah.
It's the rewards wallet that is the bread and butter of Raincoin, because this reflection tax is it exists. You can find other coins that give back 1% of their economic activity,
Hmm.
but the difference with Rain is that we have created, sorry,
Hey, buddy.
Hey, can you go out? I'm on a phone call.
Dad,
Sorry.
Dad, I was just asking if you could get me some Legos.
Go ask Mama, okay? All right,
It
we're
happens.
for real life. This is
Real
really
life.
life.
What are you gonna do? Keep kidding.
So that's what's so cool about this, because these other chains, they're relying alone on their economic activity to generate this reflection. But we have built in this gamification where every day something's happening.
Mhm.
And we've made it in such a way that those rewards will be a perpetual interest in Raincoin. There are so many meme coins and so many projects that have so much steam at the beginning and they all die out. And it's because nothing's happening. The chain grows cold, nothing's interesting. If we didn't have that daily thunderstorm, we'd just be like any other project. We'd have an exciting hype cycle. There would be some things going on, but come the first bear market, we'd be toast.
Yeah.
Well, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there's still economic incentive to buy and hold rain and to support the community. Like, this is one of those projects that could last well beyond the other projects that are out there.
Yeah.
And that's like that's the holy grail of crypto. How can I create something that's so interesting and so
I
unique
agree.
that
Yeah.
it will last more than the 15-second, attention span of crypto investors?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I talk about it with other people often as far as meme coins. You've got a couple of different kind of classes of them. You have the meme coin that is all about hype, the Pepes and the, Pond and all those kind of things. And they really rely heavily, and I think all meme coins do, but they rely super heavily on the community and on whatever influencer is kind of pushing it. And there's no substance at all.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it. And once that hype dies, where do they really go? Time to create something new, I guess. But then there are also some meme coins, or even just some other coins that make themselves try to kind of get out of that stigma, and they try to create for themselves some utility or some, like you said, what is the secret sauce? What is it that actually is going to set us apart from the really tons of options that you have out there, so that we have sustainability and we can shine a little bit. And I really have not seen anything like what you guys are doing with this, the way that you're doing this reflection tax. It makes sense to me. Again, I'm not a financial guy. Somebody else might come in and say, no, that's crazy. But to me, I like it. I love it, actually. So, kudos to you.
Well, that's the magic, is that, there has to be an economic incentive. There has to be a financial or some driver to create action. And in fact, laws, it's almost universal. There has to be a consequence or a reward to influence behavior. And so this is like behavioral finance psychology. Like, there has to be something that causes it. It can't just be a popularity contest. And that's what every other crypto is. It's how can I steal the spotlight for as long as humanly possible. But with Rain, we're creating real economic incentives that do not diminish. And there's a reason to buy and hold. And there is, because there's a lot of upside, because there are people that are just going to discover Rain, and, the natural progress of a crypto project will take its course. But when the music stops, there still has to be something driving you. And honestly, it's interesting because Bitcoin is even missing that. So Bitcoin has almost everything right, but there's no incentive beyond, I'm hoping that the price will go up someday so that my Bitcoin is worth more. I mean, it has that same property of, it's an independent coin that I can hold and use without permission, but so is every other crypto. The store of value and the network effect are unparalleled. So that gives Bitcoin a ton of strength. But if I'm holding Bitcoin as an investor, I'm holding it with the expectation and hope that other people will pay more for it in the future. And that's how I'm making money as an investor in Bitcoin. you can't sideline the personal economic freedom that it provides and things. But with rain, same thing. It can be a store of value. It's also an awesome savings account because you're getting more rain as we go. And as the project matures and as more people discover us, I'm hoping that our distribution will get even better. You mentioned at the beginning that, yeah, we kind of had a friends and family round. Well, let me tell you how hard it was to make sure that my friends and family didn't acquire too much. And that was almost a miracle. That at the beginning, I was so skeptical of my own, you don't know what you've created.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, this is an experiment. Please don't put more than $50, $100 in, because I don't want anybody to lose money. And, I'm being all sensitive about that. Well, that ended up being a blessing in disguise. Because if you look at our distribution, so look at you've got it up right now, token
Yeah.
holders chart, click that.
Where am I going?
It's
I'm
the
on holders.
big purple button in the,
the chart. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So click that, and you can see the distribution is phenomenal.
Right.
You don't have a 20% allocation to team, and there's proof. And you don't have a person. Yeah, a little further down, token. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. You got it. I'm looking at the lag.
It's okay.
But look at all those little slivers.
Yeah.
These are just people that put in a small amount at the beginning, and nobody owns a substantial share. There's the reward wallet is big. You can see that. But then the other two larger wallets are Adam and my share that we bought a little bit more, because we knew that if we were listing on large exchanges, we needed supply available to do that. So honestly, those will be donations to the community, because I bought my own little 1%, or a couple $100 worth for my own personal wallet also. So it's just like, it was a miracle that we didn't have somebody that's like, this is a great idea, here's $15,000, and they buy 30%. You know what I mean?
Right.
So our distribution is better than almost any other project, and that was almost by pure luck.
I actually talked about it in my last video, how, and I actually went through all the holders where well more than half of the holders actually hold less than one rain coin. And then, it's like maybe the top 200, I think, holders at that point had 2 rain coin or more. So yeah, there was really nobody that had any humongous. Well, 5 or 6%. That's not a bad take. But you don't have you don't seem to have a lot of like huge whales that anybody has to worry about kind of dumping on their head or whatever. And not only that, again, and I want to get into it in a second. I know we're kind of limited with time, but as the chart's gone up, it stayed there, and the reason it stayed there is because your community, for whatever reason, has just latched onto this buy and hold narrative, and they're holding on for dear life.
I'm actually surprised by that.
Yeah.
If anybody's got life-changing money, they're usually heading for the exits.
Right.
And this has gone through, if we're trading at, I think we were trading at $8 this morning or something, you realize we started at a penny. So that represents an 80,000% return. So I'm actually surprised that there are less people looking for, to put that in their pocket. And honestly, it's amazing that it kind of tells you a little about who is on board. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we have some might be, like the original round of, hey, put $50 to $100 in. Maybe the thought process is, well, this is all gravy, because we'll just see where this ends up going, because I've only put a little at risk. And then there are others that are I guess they just feel like, it's the law of economics. That what causes a person to buy or sell? Well, people buy because of the expectation of future returns, right?
Right.
Well, I think we're just early enough in this project and so small. I think a lot of people are thinking that this thing has more upside. Otherwise, if they didn't, they'd be out of here. And I think the tokenomics and the gamification and the rewards and all of that is kind of, it's a strong combination.
Right.
And so some of these guys are counting their rewards thinking, holy cow, I could pay my rent every month with just the rewards that I'm getting. And like people are, counting the pennies of what this project can do for them.
I've been dying to get to the chart, because it's such an unlikely chart, that I'll be honest with you, right? And because I want to give you the opportunity to kind of address it. It's so uncommon that it almost looks a little sus, right?
Yeah,
And,
it
and
almost looks manufactured or something.
right. So let me tell you. So let me take everybody through for a little bit. So this is where we kind of started back in October, right? And you see, it kind of traipsed along, into November. This is probably when you had some friends and family coming in, and it started to move the slightest bit, but it really just kind of coasted along this area until we got to Christmas. It seemed like Christmas Day, all of a sudden Santa bought all his elves some rain coin or something, because the volume picked up and we had a little bump up. Then the 26th and the 27th. I mean, these were some really, really good climbs, right? Then we went for like another week, and this is a daily chart for anyone who's looking, right? Went for like another week or so, had another big day, okay? But if you look at it, you can see where it's just increasing, higher highs and higher lows all the way until we got to about January 19th. And this was a huge candle, right? It really jumped up pretty far. We had a couple days where, but if you notice, every time it jumps up, it stays there. It doesn't come back down. You don't have people buying a crap load of it and then taking profits. They buy it and they hold it, right? So every leg up, we come here and it holds on until you get the next crazy buys. And this is probably where, let me see, this one here on January 25th, this is where I actually had the conversation with my friend who said, hey, are you looking at rain? And at this point, it was probably $3.40. But, then the next day, this crazy, ridiculous candle, and it's come up over the last 2 weeks, sitting in the $8 to $8.50 range. And every day I'm waiting for the retracement. Every day I'm waiting for these people who jumped in to take their profits and for it to come back down, hopefully to a level where, maybe even more people might jump in and buy some, but it hasn't happened. It's just held. So the question comes, was this manufactured? Is this a concerted effort by whoever to bring it to this level and then just keep it there?
I mean, not to my knowledge.
No.
I mean, the people that I helped get in, like my dad bought in, he was probably the second investor, and he put in $100, and he's losing his mind. He's so excited.
Right.
But it's that same thing. He's like, I'm going to see where this thing goes. Like, there's no pressure for people to get out because there's no fear in the market yet. Every market's going to have its fear moment, and I know our market's going to have to do that at some point. But we tried about a week ago. I think there was a pretty decent wick about I think it was a Sunday week ago. We dropped down to like $5.50 or something, and then suddenly, to my surprise, because I didn't even realize, but there are some people with money on the sidelines waiting for an opportunity to get in. And that's where we are right now. Like, will the market always do this? No, it's irrational. That's impossible.
Right.
There has to be ups and downs, but Rain is experiencing price discovery. Nobody knows what to price this at. Nobody's seen a coin that had a fair launch, no team, economic incentives built in. Almost, it's like an investor's dream. Like, if you add up all of those those pieces and parts, you can do a lot of research on a lot of projects and look for a handful of the things that Rain has, and Rain has it all. And so it's giving people a lot of interest in, I want to be a part of this. And then I think there are others who are like, I'd really like to have a big part of this, but there's not enough supply for me to even buy. Like, I'm not sure what to do. We're way high. We've gone up thousands of percent. So how do I get in at the top? I don't want to buy at the top. There's a lot of those questions. Well, the solution is coming. So I've got a meeting in 30 minutes with some market makers, and we are trying to list on our first centralized exchange. And I've chosen MEXC because it's the 9th largest exchange in the world. And to list there, we just need money. So it's not an impossibility for a brand new project to get listed on there.
Yep.
And what I'm hoping is that that aids in the price discovery of Raincoin. Right now, Raincoin is super rare. There's only, there are so many holders that have such iron grips on their Rain that there's only like 16,000 Rain available for sale right now.
Wow.
And so that's why when people buy, the market moves so quickly.
Right.
And that's attributed to kind of our meteoric rise. Well, once we are on a centralized exchange, there may be people that are holding, that are waiting for, you can't place a limit order on DeFi. It's all market orders. And some people are like, maybe they have a number in mind and they just want to put their stack up on a number. Putting it on a centralized exchange will allow people, it'll allow more liquidity. It'll allow more buyers to buy and sell. And I think the pools will get fatter, and it'll just help out the project. We're at a perfect place for that to happen.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I'm blown away too. It was an experiment at the beginning, and it has rapidly grown into a very serious project. Like, I can't stop talking about it, and I'm doing all the marketing that I could possibly do, because this is going to be a big thing. And now that we're this far into the project, I can see that it will be.
I mean, this chart is beautiful, as you say, trader's dream kind of thing, but it could also scare some people off. You could look at it very easily and say, wow, what is it, like 3 months, 4 months or whatever? Look at this crazy rise. Why do I want to get in now? I mean, how do you really speak to people who would love love everything about it, the tokenomics, the automation, the reflections, blah 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 blah, but they're looking at this and they're like, the thing will not pull back, so I can get in. So how do you speak to them and tell them that this has so much more space to actually move?
Well, I mean, the space to move to the upside is exponential, because that's how liquidity pools work. There's only so many. There's a million coins. So you've got to convince somebody to let go of one of those million in order for you to be a Rain holder.
Right.
So if 95% of the people have a grip around these things and they have no interest in selling, you just get a supply squeeze. It's just a natural consequence. Well, what would make people let go of it? They hit their number. Fear, like, let's say there's a cascade of sells that usually shakes people up a bit. It's generally fairly healthy for a chart. But I don't know, people just aren't ready. Like, I don't know. I can't look into the minds of the, I don't know, maybe 300, 400 serious holders of Raincoin to really answer that question. But markets, price tells you everything. That's why I was interested in Bitcoin the second someone explained it to me. They were like, hey, I've been selling these for $5. And I'm like, what? You're telling me that there's a cryptocurrency out there, a digital currency that's worth more than $1? People have more faith and trust in a Bitcoin than in the United States dollar. Okay, so you've taught me everything I need to know about scarcity, supply, the ability to infinitely print this, all those things that would go into a price. There are more people that trust Bitcoin more than $1. And the second I heard the price, it answered all of my fears and questions, because on a free market, that explains where everyone's opinion is. Well, currently on Rain, everyone's opinion is that $8 is a sweet spot. It's the sweet spot between people buying and the people selling. and I don't know how long it'll last at $8. Opinions change, but yeah, I mean, I, yeah, I mean, it's just the holders that are making the decision.
Yeah.
I personally thought if I could get this thing to $1 by the end of the bull market,
Really?
I would consider Raincoin a complete success because we 100x'd our launch. We just did everything right. Huge success. Sitting at $8 is mind blowing. I can't believe we're here.
So are
So
we out of experimental mode now, do you think?
yes, we're definitely out of the experiment. So I'm talking to
Experiment worked. Congratulations.
so I
Good.
am talking to people about how to integrate Rain into their businesses and other things. It's a perfect rewards program for companies. I'm trying to get as many eyes on it as possible. So I've been paying out of my own pocket for marketing and things because our holder base is so small. And
So I saw something I saw something about that in the TG that you were talking about, kind of some sort of business integration or whatever. Just briefly, without getting too technical, how would that work? Because that's almost kind of bringing a little utility for Raincoin, yeah.
yeah, I mean, so how projects work, especially a meme coin. Meme coins start out as a popularity contest. And then once everyone's squirrel level of interest dies down, then they have to start going, okay, we've got to get serious. We need an actual reason for people to buy this. Hype isn't going to sustain us forever. And then they start looking for applications. They start creating their marketplaces and they start doing other things to kind of bring it back. Well, with Raincoin, we already have all the economic incentives already. But just by virtue of the fact that this coin is probably going to outlast almost every other coin just because of its economic incentives and the things that are going on with it. How do we strengthen the base? We need a lot of little holders. We need a lot more people with one Rain coin in their wallet. Well, Rain is perfect for company incentives, and I'm actually talking to a developer who's going to work. He's working on a little, what do you call them? A web application, just a little thing that you can just put into your website, and
like
it's
a little D app.
Yeah, like just to refer. It's the idea is to refer business. I'm sure there's a lot of other applications, but I really like that idea. So let's say you're a real estate guy, and on your website, you're like, here, sign up here for an inquiry, to look at houses or whatever. Also, put your referral code here. And the referral code is your Matic address. And then if the real estate deal goes through, the guy's like, man, that was awesome. Whoever referred me, and so you can refer business to people anonymously, but they're tracked through their Matic wallet address. That real estate guy can thank the person and send him $100 worth of Rain. And that's kind of the concept that we're trying to build. Okay. So suddenly we have a community that's helping each other, and it creates buy pressure. So we're facilitating business. There's no sell pressure. The problem with accepting Raincoin as a transactional, like let's say I've got a website, I'm selling t-shirts, and you can pay me $20 or you can pay me $20 in Rain. Well, my business expenses force me to sell that Rain. And so as cool as it is to use it in transactions, it's not as beneficial for the project, even though it's still cool. So I'm not saying don't do it, but things like a referral program or something like that, that business owner is going to buy Rain and send it to the person. And suddenly there's buy pressure instead of sell pressure, even though it's being used in business. So these are the types of things that I think of, just from an economic incentive standpoint. I'm wondering who's buying and who's selling. Does it help the project or does it diminish the project? Because most people aren't going to buy Rain to pay for a shirt in Rain. They're going to pay for a shirt in Rain because they already have Rain. Okay. And so it ends up being sell pressure, not buy pressure. So I'm just always thinking about it in those terms.
Why are you guys so adamant about Rain doesn't have a team? There's nobody. You're clearly leading this thing. You're coming up with all the ideas. You're really pushing it into like a beautiful space. I mean, why not just own that? Why not say, yeah, that's right, we made it, we're making it better?
Well, I mean, you've got a point, but the question to answer is, what happens to rain if I get hit by a bus tomorrow?
I, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, because who else is coming up with these unbelievable ideas that you're coming up with?
Well, I mean,
I mean,
does
don't get hit by a
Raincoin
bus.
does Raincoin have the economic incentive for people to buy and hold it
Right.
without me? If the answer
I
is
mean, with the
yes,
reflections and the way that it's set up, absolutely. I see your point. Yeah.
exactly, that's the point. We don't need, we don't want to create something that relies on a leader. Yeah, I mean, I'm an investor too because I bought in early and I've got a stack that's worth something. And why do I want to pay for marketing and push this as hard as I can? Well, self-interest, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
If there are other Raincoin holders on this call or in our community, they should have the same self-interest in mind too. Everyone wants to grow this because it benefits everyone, right?
Right.
But the nice thing is that we're not reliant on me to come up with some great idea to make Raincoin special. If I disappear tomorrow, it's still a good idea. And there's still a reason to buy and sell. Like it's already baked in. And that is exactly what we're trying to create. That's the Bitcoin moment where Satoshi's like, okay, I created this great idea. I can disappear and it's still going to survive. Nobody can put Pandora's box back together again. Um, and that's what we're doing. Like, honestly, I could disappear. I mean, I'm trying hard to help because it is new and we only have a handful of holders, but everybody in the community is so excited. They're sharing it with their friends and family and they're doing the math. And this thing will survive past, you know, me being around. And that's the goal. Like that's the purpose of the tokenomics of this thing.
I appreciate the modesty, but from what I hear about Mr. Calvin, you've got a lot of people who really like to follow you around and enjoy everything that you do. They trust you, they really like you, and it's clear to see why. I mean, you're a smart guy with some some knowledge that a lot of other developers don't have, which allow you to actually move this thing in directions that maybe some other coins couldn't go. So don't get hit by a bus. Don't disappear. Stay right here with us. That'd be awesome. Real quick, I just want to look through the chat. I don't mean to ignore you guys, but I'm so enthralled in this conversation with Calvin. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, my mods. I see a lot of my mods are here and kind of fielding questions as they can or whatever. Pudgy, I know you had a question, and I think Calvin answered it as far as moving into listings and such. Everybody else is basically just talking about how cool this is and with the low supply, this just being the beginning and everything. And, everybody's got a great point. So, again, thank you, everybody, for being here. Real, because I know that time is short. I know you got to get into this meeting, but regarding MEXC, somebody said that you've got actually maybe some connection with MEXC. Have you worked with them before? Or
Yeah, I know one of their vice presidents. We've chatted before.
Okay.
I did not rely on him for this though.
Okay.
I've been talking to there's a lady that kind of helps me with my my referral because I have a MEXC link and all of that.
Yeah.
And so I've been talking to her and she also set me up with a kind of a anniversary. I think it was like a 5-year anniversary or something for MEXC. And I was one of the guest speakers and stuff. So I've been kind of involved a little bit here and there.
Okay.
But as far as listing, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not getting any special treatment or anything else.
Right.
We're just launching exactly the way anyone else would. But the one thing we are doing with this launch is we're doing some things correctly. I've heard some horror stories about launching on a centralized exchange, and I know what to avoid. I'll just give you just a quick rundown on how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Normally with MEXC, you pay $50,000 in marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
you create the market, you pay the listing fee, but then you have to come up with $50,000 worth of money to pay for a marketing or promotion.
Okay.
Well, what most people do, and they make the mistake of, is they'll pay that 50,000 in their token. They're like, oh, well, 50,000 is expensive. I'm going to just use my coin. What they've done is they've just dropped their price by $50,000 because these people, they'll use it, they'll hand it out to everybody to introduce so in the case of rain, it means they would give out a little bit of rain to a whole bunch of people to make them read a one pager on what rain is. And then those guys will decide whether they want to keep it or sell it. And a lot of times, people will sell it. But what we're going to do is we're going to pay for it all in USDT. That way, people get exposure to rain, and then they'll get money, and they can decide whether to buy it or keep their USDT. Completely different economic incentive. Right. So we are hoping to have success as far as a rise in price when we list rather than a drop in price.
I mean, I've seen it happen, right?
Oh, if you make the mistake of paying in your token, you have just shot yourself in the face. Okay. Right. It is not good. Okay. So we are avoiding some of those mistakes that others have made. That's why you see a lot of these projects just drop off the second they launch.
Yeah. With these market makers, now I've been involved in a couple of the projects and talked to some project developers about market makers, and I've learned a lot about them over the last few months. These market makers, I think a misconception of the community, I guess, from what I've learned, is that these market makers are not there to pump the price. Correct. Per se. They're there basically to provide a certain amount of liquidity that actually helps the project to have, whatever revenue or whatever, it needs to continue. That's pretty much how it works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you're paying a market maker, all you're doing is you're paying for liquidity. It's just someone that will they'll most likely track the price on the DeFi markets, because that's where our market exists right now. And so it just lines up the price, making sure that everything's roughly the same. And then it provides a sell side and a buy side so that people can get in and out as they want to. And it will push price up and down based on who's buying and selling. But that's just the basic structure. What I'm expecting to happen is that we'll have other people from our, especially new buyers or whatever. They may find an easier place to buy. We might have, some OG Raincoin buyers from the very beginning that want to put up some of theirs for sale. And I think our liquidity will fatten up. Right now, only like 15 to 20,000 rain is available for sale. Like that's it. Right. And so it's kind of creating a bottleneck. If we get onto MEXC, we'll actually have very, very true price discovery, because anyone who may want to sell at a limit, they can do that. And we'll find out what this thing's worth real fast. I'm just excited to do it now at the beginning of the bull market, because there's still a lot of runway. Matic's only 80 cents or something like that. Yeah. So our price could triple just based on Matic tripling. And then, there's a whole lot of hype to go throughout this bull market as Bitcoin goes up. We have a lot of people on the sidelines. If you're going to take the risk of going public on a major centralized exchange, you're going to find out what people really believe on your coin. So I think you do that early. You don't want to do that, at the top, and then everyone rides the bear market down. Right. So I'm hoping it'll be successful. I have no idea what it'll actually do, but I'm thinking it'll do better than most projects. So
if you can share this, is this meeting that you're about to have, and I got to let you go because you got to probably get ready for this, but is this meeting that you're about to have to talk about the possibilities of listing on MEXC, or is this to say when?
No, it's to just ask how much they charge every month for providing the service of creating a market over on MEXC. Okay. I've already decided to do it, so we're going to do it.
So it's just getting some information that you need, but this isn't a meeting to actually determine what the date is that you're actually going to be listed or anything.
Yeah, it exactly. It's just to see if these guys are the right people to create a market for us. Okay. I'm familiar with them though, so I'm expecting that it'll just be like a matter of, okay, how much is it going to cost? All right, we'll set a date and we'll do it. So yeah, I'm fully planning on having us listed in the next couple of weeks to 3 weeks or something.
I know a
So
lot of times the exchange is the one that wants to make the announcement, right? Like, like you can't really come to the community and say, "Hey, we're listing on X amount, certain date," because for whatever reason, like MEXC might want to make that announcement before the
yeah,
project. I don't know why they do that, but it happens often.
yeah, they told me that once we want to list, there's usually a week wait, and then whatever the target date is, they'll give people like 27 hours worth of advance notice, and that's when they'll start their little marketing campaign of, hey, this is a new coin, learn about it. Here's $1 for your attention, and
Yeah,
then that's how it goes. So we'll see. Um, you know, it's the next evolution. We launched on DeFi. It went really well. We've got a lot of strong holders, but our market is thin. So now we're going to add some fatness to that market, and we'll add true price discovery in larger dollar amounts, and we'll just keep progressing.
beautiful. Beautiful. All right. The final thing that I want to say to you, I want to thank you very much for coming on and chatting with me, for showing your face, and because it's a rarity. I have a lot of projects that contact me, and sometimes I contact them if I think the project is interesting. And a lot of people don't want to show their face. They don't want to do anything live. They want to know all the questions ahead of time. Um, None of that went on here for everyone watching. That's not the case here at all. And this is not by any means, in any way, shape, or form, a sponsored video either. I wanted to talk to Calvin because I just like the coin. So thank you very much for doing that. Obviously you're doxed to a degree, and that says an awful lot to everyone who's considering getting into this coin, that these people are willing to talk to you. They're transparent. They'll show their face. They'll come and answer whatever. He had no idea what I was going to ask him. I could have been an idiot and attacked him on a million things, but there's really nothing to attack him on. But he just said, yeah, let's do it. So kudos to you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Is there anything that you want to say before we kind of call this a day?
No, I appreciate your time. It's fun to talk about. Everyone in crypto has big dreams. We're
Yeah.
all we're all trying to figure out how to catch the next big thing. From a creator standpoint, it's how can how can we add something to this crazy world of crypto that doesn't exist? And I think we're giving crypto a run for our money, as far as creating Raincoin. I just like everything about it. And most of all, it's the memeness of it. There's a million dad jokes that you can you can come up with on rain, the rain coin. So it's not only economically sound, but it's just a lot of fun, and it's just kind of that perfect combination in my mind.
Awesome. Washo is the way I'm going to, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but he's obviously someone who's in the TG an awful lot. And he asked a quick question about, is MEXC available for everyone? And I can tell you that no, it's unfortunately not. I think it's kind of regional though. I think that there are places in the States that it's okay. I personally have not been able to use it, but you can do like a VPN, or there are different ways to kind of get around it. But it's,
So I point my VPN to Mexico, and I can get in and do whatever I want.
yeah,
There's no KYC, so you don't have to, wait to trade and mess around with it.
right.
So anyone can. You just have to, use VPN.
There are some steps. There are some things that you have to do, but officially, no. There are some, and I don't know about New York. He's asking about New York. I'm in Massachusetts, and I know that I have a hard time with MEXC. If I wanted to use it, I would have to use a VPN. DJ Trev, do you own any rain? I do own some rain. I bought it when my friend let me know about it. I didn't buy a lot of it because this time of year, it's money's just tight. We're laid off for the season. But I think I have 22 or 23 rain coin right now. Full disclosure. I grabbed it, and I grabbed it at like 375, and now we're at like 8 something. So I'm in profit. I'm not killing it, but I mean, I'm in profit. So I've got a lot more than a lot of people have. A lot of people have 1 or 2 or less than that. So I look forward to trying to grab some more as soon as I can. I think that he's got a really good thing going here, Calvin and Adam. So thank you very much, sir, for being here. I'm going to let you get to your meeting, and I hope that we get some good news out of it.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for your time, man. It's been
All right,
fun.
brother. Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, bye. All right, everybody. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for kind of jumping in and keeping the chat moving. Hopefully you learned something here today. And, there's a lot of other questions that I had, but I know that Calvin was kind of crunched on time because of this MEXC meeting, which is a good thing. But hopefully we'll get him back on and chat about the more future plans of RAIN. And all right, everybody have themselves an awesome day. Thank you for my Peter, Fire King, everybody, Pudgy, Crypto, all my mods. Thank you guys for being here. I can always count on you. I haven't done this in a long time. You saw the live stream and you jumped right in, so appreciate you. All right, I'll talk to everybody later. Ciao.